I mean, I mentioned earlier, I paused during that scene with Shepard Book because I was talking about how impactful it was and how much it said about that relationship, and I should have known. I didn't call it at all. I should have known they were setting him up to die. I didn't see that coming, though. I didn't. This here is Reaver country.
Watch.
He's like, shut it down. We don't need people getting scared up in this. They're moving in incognito. It's like in Walking Dead when they wear the zombie guts to move through a horde. Wild. I love how much we're seeing from the Reavers, but it's not too much, so there's still an air of mystery.
Fine. Disappeared.
He's like a brilliant villain.
No tectonic instability or radiation.
He's baffled by being outsmarted.
Kaylee, don't.
What are they doing?
Looks like
What's
fucking
everybody
Google headquarters.
doing?
There's no unusual discoloration. Nobody's doubled over or showing signs of pain.
Please, God, make me a stone.
She is starting to damage my comm.
Jane.
She's right.
Great shot.
Everybody's dead.
These are just a few of the images we've recorded,
Sarah Paulson.
and you can see the G23 Paxilon hydrochloride that we added to the air processors. It was supposed to calm the population, weed out aggression. The people here stopped fighting, and then they stopped everything else. There's 30 million people here, and they all just let themselves die. About 0.1% of the population had the opposite reaction to the Pax. Their aggressor response increased. They've done things.
Is this like the invention of Reavers that they're finding out?
They made them.
I won't live to report this. But people have to know.
Holy shit.
We meant it.
How are people just now finding this out, though? I mean, Reavers have been around for a minute. So throughout the entire show, Reavers have been this like myth, this like boogeyman kind of presence just lingering in the background, and every now and then they'll make an appearance, and I thought it was nothing more than that. But what we're learning with Serenity is that they play a huge role in the overall plot. There's almost like this Resident Evil-esque vibe going on now. I wonder if that was the plan all along. Maybe Rivers' experiments were an attempt to reverse the effects of that botched experiment. I don't know. That's wild, though. It doesn't make sense to me that it took years, right? In the timeline of this universe, it took years for someone, that group of people, to find that message and find out that that's how Reavers were invented. Before this exact moment, they were almost considered a myth, and then people were like coming around to the idea that they exist, but no one really talks about these origins. It's kind of weird. How long have those decaying corpses just been sitting there, you know? This fucking movie, man. Oh my gosh. She's showing some human ass emotion.
This report is maybe 12 years old. Parliament buried it.
12.
It stayed buried until River dug
That
it up.
answers my question. 12 years.
This is what they feared she knew. And they were right to fear. Somebody has to speak for these people. So now I'm asking more of you than I have before. Maybe all.
I have goosebumps like a mother.
They'll swing back to the belief that they can make people better.
Wow.
And I do not hold to
I
that.
feel like there's social commentary in here that I don't have the mental capacity to
So no more
dissect.
running. I aim to misbehave.
As per.
Shepard Book used to tell me, can't do something smart, do something right.
Mr. Universe, we haven't the equipment to Broadwave this code, but he can put it on every screen for 30 worlds.
Gonna see this coming.
They're not gonna see this coming.
My boy's got a plan! The one person who we would assume is the most devoid of integrity is the one person to speak up and quote Shepard Book. Just to imply in one fell swoop that every one of these people is on board. Not just for Mal, because they respect him, which they do, but for themselves and their own lives and their own legacy. This movie's so f***ing good.
After, you'll be right in my orbit.
You'll let us know if anyone else comes at you.
You'll be the first. There. Toss me my 30 coin. I got a news wait for you.
And now you're dead. Uh-oh.
Vessel in range. Lock on.
Bastard's not even changing course.
Because he's got a plan. Woo! Oh, shit.
Target the Reavers.
Target everyone. Somebody fire!
He's used themselves as bait to drown them in Reavers. So dope.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
Gotta love wash moments.
The hell? It's okay. I'm a leaf on the wind. What does that mean?
No.
Yes.
They made him emergency evac, like they have him on the run. We've never seen Serenity this fucked up.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
I feel like Mal's gonna be like,
Watch out.
Wash! Baby! Baby, no! Baby, come on, you gotta go! Come on! We gotta move! Go out!
this movie did not just kill him off.
Head inside!
What is happening? And Zoe's just in action? Like, what's her plan?
Can't be thinking on revenge if we're gonna get through this.
Do you really think any of us are gonna get through this?
Oh, shit.
I might.
Mal. Guy killed me, Mal. How weird is that? They destroyed my equipment, but I have a backup unit. Bottom of the complex. They can't stop the signal now.
His
They
last
can never stop
words
the signal.
were to help out Mal. He must have felt guilty.
Reverse.
I didn't plan on going out like this.
My one regret in all of this is never being with you.
Sex? I'm gonna live.
Haley needs to get laid. She's been talking about it this entire series. A mechanic, a doctor, an escort. When the time comes, they all pick up a gun. That's always how the show's been. Holy sh**. She is out for it. She is ruthless, reckless.
Zoe, get your ass back on the line!
Shane is so savage with the gun.
I know the secret.
Hypocrite.
The truth that burned up River Chan's brain. The rest of the verse is gonna know it too.
You willing to die for that belief?
I am.
Yeah, cowboy moment.
Because that ain't exactly plan A.
That was a quick draw. It is a space western at the end of the day. I know that eventually River's gonna go full fucking beast and just it up and save them all, and this is all leading up to that.
How much ammo do we have?
3 full mags and my swinging cod. That's all.
My back.
Oh.
River, I'm sorry.
No. Always taking care of me. My turn.
There it is. Took Simon getting shot. She ain't gonna die. Classic.
Do you know what your sin is, Mal? I'm a fan of 07.
You think Mal got the word out?
You got through.
I'm sorry. You should know there's no shame in this.
This is a noble death.
You've already lost.
Piece of shrapnel tore up that nerve cluster my first tour.
Oh, God.
Had it moved. I ain't gonna kill you. I'm gonna show you a world without sin.
Oh, my God. He did it.
It isn't what we thought.
Yeah, River. Been waiting for this. Been waiting the whole season for this. This motherfucker's legacy is shot. They made a point of showing him talk about how he kills and he sins and he's aware of that. He's a murderer, but it's all for a higher purpose. And it's almost like there's a level of forgiveness he gives himself. He justifies all of his heinous actions because in his heart and his mind, he believes it's the right thing to do for the greater cause. Mal just demolished his entire legacy. So it almost feels like right now, as he's sitting there watching those screens, what's going through his head is kind of like Jubal floating out into space. A similar kind of moment where he's paralyzed, nothing to do. Mal just took his entire world and turned it upside down, and he's forced to sit there and reflect on all of his sins and everything that he's done, and how it amounted to absolutely nothing. It's awesome. Yeah, this savage right here.
It's done. River?
Yes!
Drop your weapons! Do it now!
This shot is amazing, the lighting behind her.
Stand down. It's finished.
He lost. There's no more justification for his sins. Had Mao not left him alive, he couldn't have done that. Oh. No. Oh man. I did not expect both Wash and Shepherd Book to die in this movie. Poor Zoe. Well, if there's ever a time to kill off main characters, it's the last hurrah. Back to business as usual. Gotta keep flying. Aw, yay. Finally, Jesus.
I can't guarantee that they won't come after you. I told them the Tams were no longer a threat.
I'd like to kill you myself if I see you again.
You won't. There is nothing left to see.
He doesn't exist. I'm gonna spend a lot of time just dissecting him over the next few days.
Think she'll hold together?
She's tore up plenty, but she'll fly true.
Could be bumpy.
Always is.
Started with them two. She's gonna stay.
Ready to get off this heap? Back to civilized life?
I don't know.
Good answer. You gonna ride shotgun with me? Help me fly?
That's the plan.
Think you can work out?
Genius.
Okay. Ain't all buds and charts, little albatross. You know what the first rule of flying
Little
is?
albatross.
I do, but I like to hear you say it.
Love.
Storm's getting worse.
We'll pass through it soon enough.
What was that?
God. And of course they end on a joke like that. Nothing goes smooth for these guys. Oh man. Wow. That's a great fucking movie. If I take a step outside myself and discuss it out of context, as a film, as a standalone film, it's great. The visual effects are amazing. The performances are incredible. The way that each character's personality quirks were implemented, everything was so seamless, and Joss Whedon's tone is so specific and consistent, right down to that very last joke. They have a sincere, authentic moment, and then the piece flies off. What was that? There's a storm, but they'll make it out. Thematically, there's so much going on. I mean, I can't really dissect it as a standalone film because I'm so invested in this now. I just watched 14 episodes of Firefly, so I feel like I have to talk about it in terms of the larger implication of the Firefly universe. The way that they keep flying is with love. I mean, this guy, you know, he's a hard-ass fucking criminal, but he's always had all this integrity, and I feel like that last line just really puts a cap on his entire persona and his legacy. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I swear to God, I had goosebumps that entire movie. It's so good. It's really good. I love how towards the end, Ejiofor's integrity, also like his sense of morality and the rules by which he lives his life really come into perspective. He really did think he was doing the right thing. He thought that he was trying to create this utopia. He always justified his sins, and at that point, once that message went out, the Sarah Paulson message, there was nothing left to fight for. After that, it would just be murder for the sake of murder, and that's not the moral code that he lives his life by. So I loved that. That character is so good and so mysterious, such a good villain. If you watched the Firefly reactions, you know that I spent a lot of time talking about Reavers. I want to see the Reavers. I want to hear more about the Reavers. Tell me about the Reavers. And so I love that they played such a pivotal role in Serenity. One of the primary aspects of the story was how they were created, which is fantastic because, I mean, they finally explained that these kids didn't just come out of nowhere and start eating fools, that there was reasoning behind this. This movie is 2 hours. This is a 2-hour movie, and it screamed by. Like that, it didn't feel, I usually get, you know, I'm a millennial with ADD, so I get exhausted with films that, you know, reach that 2-hour mark, but There was no boring moment. They covered so much ground, which is something I've always said about the show, is that they can cover so much in such a small period of time. And this was exactly the same way. I mean, they couldn't justify a 3-hour film, but it's like, how much can we wrap up in this period of time? And I feel like there was a lot of closure we didn't get, certain plot threads, certain relationships, but you know that that's not the end of their journey. So it almost justifies it. I honestly expected more on the Mal and Inara front. We didn't get a whole lot of closure there, but I almost don't even mind, because the way that it ends with her saying that she's not sure if she wants to leave, and he says that's a good answer, like, they're just leaving us with the same hope that we had for the entire series. Earlier in the film, Mal also says, "The wind goes north and I go with it," which isn't surprising. His character is the kind of guy who's just like, keep flying, stay alive. He plays the hand that he's dealt. That's what he's always done. That's a very noir or even, Western kind of concept. I'm incredibly curious what it would have been like to watch this out of context. You know what I mean? Like, if I just went to the theater and saw Serenity with some friends and I had never seen the show before, I wonder what that experience is like. I feel like I'm watching this as episode 15 of Firefly. Obviously, it feels different, but really it's a continuation of the story for me. And it's not written as a continuation of the story. It's written to close things out and in a manner that would allow the average viewer to understand what was going on without having any frame of reference, which is great. That's exactly what they should have done, but I'm really curious what it would have been like to watch it out of context. I was hoping to see a few more reprisals of previous jokes or characters. I mean, I can't complain because they covered so much ground. You know what I mean? But like, I would have loved to see Badger, and I would have loved to see Patience. I would have loved to see Jane's fucking hat come back. So when this started, for the first episode, I kind of said, hey, Firefly fans complain a little too much because they only got one season, but they shouldn't really complain, because then they got a whole feature film after that to wrap everything up. While it was nice to get a feature film and wrap up some of this stuff, the story was clearly written to last quite a bit longer. It almost feels like, to me, that like Mal and Inara not getting together is one of Joss Whedon's like big fuse to Fox, or whatever led to the cancellation of Firefly, because he's kind of like, we didn't have time. When it comes down to it, Firefly was really about River, and I've said that from the beginning. The film did a great job with her and explaining her origins and how she found her place aboard Serenity, and in that sense, they really did a good job closing up everything to the best of their ability, because I mean, that was what we needed closure on. All in all, I'm just super satisfied with this film. I mean, like 4.5 out of 5, not that anyone's asking. Anyway, you guys, I gotta say, talking to you guys in the comments, seeing those of you that have stuck around for every episode of this reaction, I have never done a reaction series before. This is my first time, and it was so much fun, and I'm gonna do more of these kinds of things. Thank you so much for sticking around and for joining me. I'm a brown coat now, just like the rest of you, and it is official that from now on, I will be consistently angry and outspoken about the unfair cancellation of Firefly. In order to see more reactions and reviews and all kinds of dope stuff that we're doing on Cinema Blend, please go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. That way you know as soon as we post them. I'm making videos all the time. We got, we're putting out stuff on the regular, and you're gonna wanna see it. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time.